Today I'm jumping into some explosive details regarding Kody and Robyn Brown that have been going around, and trust me, it's not good. Apparently the whole Brown family does not want anything to do with them. But what went down? Why has everyone distanced themselves from them? And how did Garrison Brown's memorial figure into all this? Stay with me, because you won't want to miss the incendiary details that are coming your way. So here's the scoop: the person who was part of helping organize the Nevada Service Memorial for Garrison Brown contacted me. This memorial occurred toward the end of March 2024. Now remember on the show, Kody Brown did say something about wanting to bring Garrison home and bury him in the ground. It sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Yes, as it appears that this remark was indeed made to someone who was extremely involved in the memorial arrangements, including the service and cremation procedures. But here's the catch: the National Guard memorial filming, which would be shown, was something that the Brown family did not want, except Kody. Reportedly, this caused huge red flags, and people who worked with the memorial were outraged. In fact, they contacted me to tell me what actually went down. And here's the interesting part: could this actually be the real reason McKelty stated a year ago that something occurred during the funeral which led the entire family to sever ties with Kody and Robyn? It's adding up now, as McKelty says, since that ill-fated day. Kody has not reconciled with any of his children, and communication has only deteriorated. The family is in total meltdown, and to make matters worse, they're all walking away from him. So what actually transpired that led to this huge schism? Let's find out to begin with. You have to know a little about Garrison Brown if you're not familiar. Garrison was a member of the Nevada National Guard. Now, when someone enlists, they're given the option to create a will, establish a power of attorney, and make sure everything is in order for the unexpected. This includes setting up a plan for their family and belongings should something tragic happen while serving. It's a standard procedure for all members of the National Guard, and as I discovered, Garrison had done just that, and this is where matters began to get complicated. Let's examine closer now how the military deals with memorials for soldiers. You might not know it, but within the United States Armed Forces, there exists a special mortuary services department. It is this team which coordinates the details of a service member's funeral or memorial, from the 21-gun salute to the honor guard, to even the memorial service itself. They take care of everything, making sure that the estate is well taken care of, the insurance policies are activated, and the family is provided with all that they need to settle affairs once their loved one has gone. But here's where it gets really interesting. This department doesn't only deal with the ceremonial things. They also deal with the more administrative details. They ensure the family is informed about the service member's will, the division of the estate, and any insurance policy included. Everything is taken care of, so the bereaved family doesn't have to think about logistics during such a sorrowful period. One person who was close to this department and helped with Garrison Brown's memorial contacted me, and what they told me is revealing. Now remember, this is their viewpoint, and I can't authenticate every fact, but I did verify their participation with the U.S. Armed Services and that they helped coordinate Garrison's memorial. So what they said to me may surprise you, or perhaps it may not, but it adds light to some of the very important moments that could have a lot to do with all the family drama we've witnessed. The memorial for Garrison was professionally composed by the Mortuary Services Department, which is headquartered out of Virginia. They are sent out to other locations when members of the armed services die, and they're tasked with the responsibility of taking care of all things from funeral services to management of the estate. The choice between a formal military funeral service and an opting for a private burial is given to families. Cremation can be an option or an alternative in the case of military cemeteries, subject to the last wishes of the service member in Garrison's situation. His family chose cremation, as he had wished the military did not conduct a burial. Now, where things get even more interesting, at the service, Janelle and her sons were given the urn of Garrison's ashes. But the show wasn't over yet. There is more to the tale of what transpired at the memorial, and it may well be a large contributor to why things are as tense between Kody, Robyn, and the rest of the family, as the memorial service for Garrison Brown was drawing near. A surprise twist began to reveal itself. It came out that the urn holding Garrison's ashes was in the possession of Janelle, and her boys all was set for a dignified, somber service, until reports began spreading that Kody had other ideas. Apparently, Kody Brown wished to take cameras along with him to National Eye Guard duty and videotape the occasion for TLC. The family was not pleased with this idea. Actually, according to reports, one of Janelle's relatives, not a sibling, contacted Kody personally. They strongly informed him in no uncertain language that he was not invited to the event, no cameras, no TLC, and specifically no Robyn.
What my plan is right now is after basic training, I'll start going to college while doing recruit training.
Why Garrison had an extremely tense relationship with Robyn to the extent that he thoroughly disliked her. So respecting Garrison's requests and those of close family, they communicated as follows: Kody and Robyn are to be avoided, but things take a yet more dramatic turn. My source indicates that there was more involved: the manner in which Kody and Robyn had treated Garrison on television, the bullying, the victimization. The public ostracism was purportedly a major factor in his deteriorating mental health. Garrison had disowned both of them, and witnessing their antics play out on TV took its toll on him. It was a traumatic experience, one that caused the family not to want anything to do with them at the memorial. So having been told, in no uncertain terms, not to come, what did Kody do? He totally disregarded their wishes. He appeared at the memorial service in Nevada, cameras on with TLC in tow, after being asked specifically not to bring them. The incident spiraled out of control. In my source, the whole atmosphere of the room changed the moment Kody and Robyn came in. Folks were angry, the air turned icy, and the mood was said to be as if the air had been drawn from the room. And here's the kicker. Kody and Robyn walked in like they were royalty. They had this aura of superiority, like everyone should be grateful for their presence. My source described it like this: Kody and Robyn, along with TLC, strutted in like they were celebrities, or as they put it, show ponies. They acted as though they were above it all. And the family felt their presence was not just unwelcome, but disrespectful. When Kody and Robyn arrived at the memorial service, the mood was already charged, but it wasn't only their unwanted attendance that stirred things up. My source reports that Kody and Robyn were already mic'd, ready to shoot, and this immediately infuriated the family. They let them know they did not want this occasion taped. But Kody and Robyn's urge to shoot was anything but an accident. Garrison had expressed himself pretty clearly about how he felt regarding the show, particularly in his final text messages. He loathed it. Therefore, the family was concerned that Kody would make the memorial all about him, and thereby overshadow Garrison's legacy. Notwithstanding the opposition from the family, TLC went ahead and recorded the memorial to the horror of all parties. But here's where things get even more astonishing. It was discovered that Kody may not have had any legal claim to the ashes he was so quick to stake his claim on. Apparently, he wasn't even named on Garrison's birth certificate. So in a legal sense, Kody wasn't Garrison's father. Janelle had assured that all the children, including Garrison, were registered under Kody's name on their birth certificates. But this was not true. Garrison's birth certificate did not bear Kody's name without a legal relationship. Kody's claims on Garrison's estate were even weaker, and it doesn't end there. Garrison had made a will prior to his death, leaving Janelle his power of attorney and executive of his estate. Kody totally excluded. He wasn't mentioned on the life insurance policy, and his name didn't appear anywhere in the will. The family even teased that they would have enjoyed being a fly on the wall when Kody found out that he was not entitled to anything, particularly after his attempt to inherit Garrison's ashes. But here's the twist Garrison had prepared. He ensured Kody and Robyn wouldn't see a penny even in his tragic premature death. Garrison had done what it took to keep his mother in charge of his estate, so it would be simpler for her to manage everything. This last act of preparation provided the family with a sense of relief, knowing that Garrison's wishes were respected when Garrison died. All that was organized with his prior arrangements, his mom Janelle could step in as executive of his estate, as well as take complete charge of the arrangements that were needed. Right from selling his home to organizing his cremation, all that was done. Garrison's thoughtful preparation, his instructions were unequivocal, and Janelle could carry them out. The memorial, which took place when the family convened for it, found the urn that held Garrison's ashes in Janelle and her boy's possession. It was a desolate setting, the atmosphere laden with sorrow. But then Kody and Robyn arrived, and that was when everything changed. They came with cameras in hand, ready to capture the whole thing for their program. The family was shocked. Why did they come there with cameras? The why for this was something even more appalling. Kody wasn't simply there as a bereaved father. No, he was there to produce a narrative for TLC. From the source, Kody had staged this moment as part of his comeback narrative. He wanted to present himself as the bereaved father who was a victim. He needed the cameras to record him in grief and to depict the family as heartless to his wife Robyn. It wasn't all about grieving. It was about manipulating the message. The source argues that Kody would have liked to use Garrison's death as the means to twist the story to be all about him.
They wanted me to have a college degree first. The benefits the National Guard has is to help pay for my college while I'm serving.
And why invite Robyn, someone that Garrison supposedly did not like? The source insists that Kody invited Robyn specifically because he knew that it would kick up a lot of dust. It was not about paying tribute to Garrison, it was about making the whole event into something sensational. Kody wished to demonstrate to the world that he had been estranged from his son and that the family was being horrible to his wife in their time of grief. But that is not what the family desired. They did not want Kody or Robyn present, much less with cameras. Garrison's desires had been made explicit. He did not wish to be taken advantage of, and the family wished to honor that. But regardless of how much the family protested, there was nothing they could do. Once TLC began to film, Kody had his cameras, and the family was relegated to having one choice: refuse to be filmed. A few of the women didn't even permit themselves to be mic'd up. But the drama that Kody had created was already underway, and the question is still out there. Was all of this really about grieving for Garrison, or was it all about Kody getting his redemption story on television? When Kody and Robyn finally made it to the memorial, the atmosphere in the room changed, and tensions were palpable as they attempted to settle in. Kody insisted that he wanted to sit in the front row beside Janelle, taking on the role of the bereaved father beside her. But Janelle's family had other ideas. They would not let Kody steal that spotlight. Instead, they opted to have Hunter, Janelle's son, and an Air Force officer sit up front with her, Kody, and Robyn were relegated to sitting towards the back of the aisle, and the family was explicit that they were not there to contribute. To Kody's story of being the grieving father, it was a small but powerful act of rebellion against Kody's efforts to dictate how his grieving would be received by the public. In the meantime, Meri sat down beside Gwendolyn, who had seemingly called. For her companionship, Gwendolyn required comfort, and Meri was the one she came to. It wasn't lost on everyone that the seating position indicated the underlying division between Kody and most of the family, but it wasn't so much a matter of where people sat, it was who had the right to be sitting there in the first place. Then came the most contentious moment of all: the flag and the medals. According to military protocol, when a service member dies, the surviving spouse automatically receives the flag and medals, but since Kody wasn't legally listed as Garrison's next of kin, he wasn't on the birth certificate. After all, he wasn't entitled to those honors. In spite of this, Kody was said to have caused a scene at the close of the service, insisting on the flag and medals for himself, but in the end, the military's protocol won out. Janelle, Garrison's mother, was given the flag and medals. She departed the memorial with her son's military honors, and Kody's insistence on claiming those symbols of sorrow and respect went unfulfilled. The family had ensured that Janelle's boys, including the surviving Logan, were on hand and rallied their mother through it all. Even as Kody attempted to spin it about himself, the family went on to honor Garrison's memory in their own manner, keeping the focus there, and not on Kody's attempts to take it over. The family made themselves clear. Garrison's death was not for TV ratings or redemption storylines. The drama went to a new level when the family made it explicitly clear that they were not going to allow Kody and Robyn to run their show at Garrison's memorial. Hunter, Gabriel, and Logan, all of whom had been described as being highly mannered, polite, and doing on their mom took. On the role of protecting Janelle from Kody's manipulations, the brothers sat together tightly, deliberately positioning themselves between Kody and their mother, putting physical and emotional space between him and the family. This wasn't a random seating arrangement, it was a declaration of intent. Kody's reasons for coming to the memorial service were viewed as being unmistakably selfish. Kody wasn't being a grieving dad, according to the source. Indeed, Kody was said to be more concerned with his TV show than with grieving over his son. He and Robyn were both said to have made theatrical attempts to appear grieving before the cameras, with the source calling their acts a desperate effort to force themselves to cry. It was all for show and act, to write a script making Kody look like the martyr dad desperate for attention from his family.
College is on our radar, and Garrison has had military on his radar. Him going in the National Guard and then getting the education money and stuff like that.
But the family didn't fall for it as soon as the memorial service had ended, and the urn with Garrison's remains had been handed to Janelle and her children. Kody did not have legal rights to the ashes. He was not even listed as a legal parent, and He did not have any claim to Garrison's remains, but the source suggested that there was confusion over whether Kody ever got any part of the urn, or even if the remains even ended up with him. The family remained unsure if Garrison was actually buried in Wyoming, as Kody had claimed he would do for his show's story. It was thought that this notion of a pilgrimage to Wyoming was dreamed up following the memorial. Providing Kody with a narrative to chase the intent was obvious. Kody wished to establish an image of himself as the bereaved father undertaking a quest in honor of his son. The family, meanwhile, was preoccupied with paying respect to Garrison's wishes, rather than seeing his death be utilized as a narrative for ratings. On television, the family's mood was one of overwhelming emotion. They didn't want Kody and Robyn around, and they certainly didn't want them using the death of Garrison for the purposes of the show. Most of the siblings resented the commotion Kody and Robyn were causing in the eyes of the family. Kody and Robyn hadn't come to grieve Kody, and Robyn had come to make a profit. Kody was attempting to sell the story of the bereaved father, and Robyn was playing the part of the abused stepmother, who was supposedly being ostracized by the family. The manner in which they came, a nearly regal one like royalty, cemented themselves further as strangers. It soon became apparent to everyone in attendance that Kody and Robyn had absolutely no connection of any kind to anyone in the room. They were not attending to mourn. They were there to manipulate their circumstances for personal benefit, having no real connection to or consideration of the family's sorrow or Garrison's will. The disrespect was even more evident when Kody's own family members would not talk to him at the memorial. This, they explained, said a lot about how Kody had been behaving. His behavior pushing away even those who were supposed to be closest to him. His prioritization of building a story for the show over honoring the truth and the family's desires became all too apparent. They were worried about how the scenario would be shown on television. But more than anything, they were upset over the way Kody had talked about burying Garrison, totally not taking into account what the family wanted. The family insisted that Garrison had specifically stated his desires prior to his passing. He wished to be cremated. Kody's insistence on burial, especially where it appeared to be motivated by a desire to have something for his program to film, was a clear disregard of those wishes. The frustration of the family was evident. They felt that if Kody had proceeded with this, it would have been by manipulating or bullying others into going along this entire ordeal. In their opinion, was a violation not just of Garrison's desires, but also of the military's policies and the dignity that is owed to a serviceman. Garrison was deserving of a decent military burial, but what he got was something short of what he deserved. It was not just that they physically handled his remains, it was about respecting his service, which Kody and Robyn's actions completely disregarded. There were a few moments of levity in the midst of tension. Meri, otherwise negatively depicted on television, was described by those on the scene as the kindest among them. How her actual self differed from her television persona was remarkable. The other children were similarly described as being kind and mannered, but as the source pointed out, it was Kody and Robyn who were the most troublemaking of all, making the whole memorial into a spectacle for themselves, the mortuary workers who are committed to treating military families with respect and dignity were especially shocked by Kody and Robyn's attitude. Their work is one of utmost reverence for veterans, making sure service members are afforded the dignity they've earned. But Kody and Robyn's attitude particularly. Kody's referring to burying Garrison was viewed as a naked disrespect for the procedure for Garrison and for the family. The most startling aspect of the whole thing was Robyn's refusal to be deterred from coming, despite being specifically requested. Not to this, along with Kody's refusal to leave her behind, illustrated a total disregard for what the family wanted, and specifically for Garrison's own desires. It was made obvious to everyone that Kody and Robyn did not intend to honor Garrison or pay tribute to his memory. They came to push themselves into a situation that only helped them. It demonstrated for many that Kody and Robyn only looked after themselves and their program, and not the individual who had defended his country or his family. It appears as though the dynamics of the case of Kody and his relationship with his family, particularly with what happened with Garrison's death, has strongly polarized opinions based on what the family members are speaking out about. The actions of Kody are presented to seem purely selfish. His intentions seem to prioritize more the crafting of a storyline for his program than the difference to his family's genuine needs and desires, especially that of Garrison's. It is obvious that the family feels exploited and manipulated by Kody, whom they think cares only about generating content for himself. His continual breaches of privacy on the part of the family, and the manner in which he's reportedly set situations up for television purposes is a source of anger and frustration. The disparity between the way Kody is presented on television and the way he behaves in life appears to be a central concern for the family. They feel as though he's exploiting his children's hardships and personal moments for entertainment, something that most feel is a betrayal of the very relationships he's supposed to hold dear. The need for privacy, particularly about something as personal as the death of a loved one, clearly was not honored, and the fact that Garrison explicitly didn't want his father or stepmother there and didn't want to die on camera indicates how deep this rift runs. It also appears there may be an even larger issue at hand in terms of the stress of being on reality television. From what's reported, the family is trapped in this setting, maybe tied by contract or monetary rewards, but resentful of the encroachment it has in their lives. The suggestion that Kody might be able to control the narrative and make himself and Robyn out to be victims, regardless of what they have done, seems to be the additional element of resentment among the family. The family's message appears straightforward. They want Garrison's life and service remembered for what it was, a life of sacrifice and service. They want him honored for who he was, not manipulated as a prop in some larger TV-driven drama. And from their viewpoint, Kody's actions after his son's death, particularly the way he conducted the memorial and the burial, means of advancing his own agenda over the memory of Garrison. It's really difficult to picture the emotional cost of this situation for the family, particularly considering the sensitive nature of grief and loss, if anything. The discussion here only serves to prove how reality television can sometimes have more negative impact than positive effect, particularly where it goes against personal values and respect for what family members may want. Can you imagine this type of scenario being typical within reality TV families, or is this one somehow more extreme than most? Thanks for watching. If you want to stay updated with all the latest news and stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Your support means a lot. Don't forget to like the video and share it with others who'd be interested. By subscribing, you won't miss any of the updates we've got coming your way. Stay connected, stay informed.